dear young people of America, do not be afraid. The deepest joy there is in life is the joy that comes from God.
Alrighty. All right. Young Church Podcast episode. Bella, what are we on? 16. Alrighty. 2 new guests on today. Recently back from Seek. Why don't you both just share a little bit your names and then a little bit about just a brief testimony, and then we'll start talking about the Seek conference.
My name's Kristen. I think I've been a Christian here for around like 16 years. I came to school here at St. Cornelius, so I've been here since kindergarten, but a year before I started kindergarten. So I think that's like 16 years. I went to school all 8 years or 9 years, and then I went to St. Joseph High School, and I started confirmation here. I became a confirmation leader, and then once I kind of aged out and gone to college, I started with the young adult ministry, and I help out with that, and I sometimes help out with faith formation for the First Communion.
Hi, I'm Michael. I've been a parishioner here probably for about the same amount of time. I also went to St. Cornelius, and I became a leader probably my sophomore year of high school. So I was a leader for about 4 years because I think I went till my freshman year of college. And then after that, I also got really involved with the young adult group here. And since then, I've just been hanging around, going to church here.
Just hanging around.
Yeah.
All right. So the reason we wanted you guys on is you guys attended a week-long conference to start the new year. It's a conference known as Seek. It's a young adult conference hosted by Focus.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that was how many people went? It was like 30,000 or something?
No, so it was split into 2 this year.
Okay.
So at the Salt Lake City, it was 17,000, and I think one night it was almost 18,000 people had attended.
In DC?
In Salt Lake City.
Oh, okay.
And in DC, it was about, I think, 3,500 or something, or like
yeah,
4,000.
I think it was 3,000 or 4,000.
Oh, so it was way bigger at Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
wow.
I think there's also one they hosted in Germany at the same time.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, there wasn't that many people, or from like what the video they showed, there wasn't that many people, but they had it in Germany. It was like their first international seat.
Okay. So like in years past, this conference was held at like St. Louis, right?
Yeah.
It's usually different places, but
Okay.
for the past 2 years, like prior, it was at St. Louis, Missouri.
And then it was, okay, and then this year they split it up East Coast, West Coast kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So in total, there were 2 conferences going on, about 20,000 people, but at your location, Salt Lake City, is about 18.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of young Catholics, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All young adults, right? It's a young adult conference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many people from our parish went?
From Cornelius, I think like 15.
I think there was 14 that drove and 12 that stayed with us. So like around 12, 14 people.
Okay. That's cool. Well, just tell me a little bit about like generally like how was the conference? Was it cool? Was it fun? How does it rank with Steubenville's, with World Youth Days? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how was it?
It definitely wasn't as like hectic as World Youth Day, I would feel like, because obviously there's over 1 million people at World Youth
That's
Day.
crazy. Yeah, that's crazy.
But I think it was really good. I really just liked, I don't know, it was really awesome to see like people from different colleges just all there for the same thing. So I think that was like one of the coolest parts for me.
Yeah, I think it's like between Steubenville and World Youth Day, it's a middle ground for both, because it's like we always say like Steubenville is like a bigger retreat, but it's like Steubenville, it's like bigger than Steubenville but smaller than World Youth Day. So it's like you still like there's still everyone there, everyone is like in the same place for like the keynotes and stuff, but there's like little separate talks that you can pick to go to, like World Youth Day.
Where was it held? At a convention center? Was it at
so
Salt
it's like
Palace.
Salt Palace Convention Center.
Salt Palace?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
like right in the
I
heart.
want to
of
make sure I
Salt
heard
Lake
that right.
City.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
right next to the where the Jazz play.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Dang, that must be pretty big space to hold that many people.
Yeah, it was pretty big.
Yeah, I feel like it was still a bit small for like the
It was a little tight.
for like amount of people that were there. I don't think they were expecting. Well, they obviously were, but I don't think like initially they were expecting how big it was going to be.
And then, so this started on New Year's Day. But you guys drove? No, you guys flew.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
you guys flew, but other people from our community drove out there. Okay,
Mhm.
so
Right.
it's New Year's Day, the 1st through the 5th. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about how each day went. Was there like a theme for the retreat? Like, what was it? What was it like? What?
So every day we'd start off with daily mass at 7:30 in the morning, and then they would kind of split up the whole conference, like girls and boys, and we'd each go to our own like keynote talks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. So every talk was split.
It was just like in the morning after daily mass, all the guys would go to this different hall, and we'd have like one speaker for us, and then the girls would stay in that hall and have a speaker for them, and then after that, it'd just be like a little lunchtime, and then they would have different talks throughout the convention center, which you could go to.
And those were like co-ed.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So it was just right after that daily mass is when you split.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So that was there, I guess, like, was it like that was the structure every day? Like day 1, day 2, was there anything different? Like, cause I'm just trying to think about World Youth Day. Like, they had like a vigil one night, then they had like a mass another night, and then they
Right,
had like
right.
an opening ceremony one of the nights. Like, was there any of that, or was it?
So the first day on June 1st, it's a holy day of obligation. So, I mean, January 1st.
Yeah,
sorry.
there you go.
Sorry. It's a holy day of obligation.
J1.
So we had like basically the entire first day, like it was most like take it slow and like exploring. And mass began at 6 p.m. And there's like, it's about an hour and a half, because there's so many priests that like process in. It's priests, and then they have bishops, and then it's like the archbishop of that diocese. He gives the first mass. So it's like a very long procession. So then after we finish mass, like we stay in the same area, and we get the first keynote of the night of like the entire thing.
Oh yeah.
And then that's day 1. That's it.
Okay.
And then the next day you wake up, and then you kind of have to get there early for like to get good seats and like to sit in front of like
Oh, okay.
screens and stuff. So we would get there, or we would leave the Airbnb by like 7:30 or like 6 a.m. sometimes, because they would have daily rosary at 8, and then mass would be at 8:30, which would last about like an hour or less than an hour. And then that's when we would split into like
And
collegiate women and men.
I know you mentioned this before we started, but were all the keynotes based on like the 5 R's of the gospel that Focus does, or because I was trying to ask for like, was there a theme for the week or something?
So like I said, I think it's just most of the keynotes focus mainly on the 5 R's.
Which are for the people listening, it's like a Focus uses the 5 R's to explain the gospel.
Mhm.
Focus is like a Catholic group, predominantly at colleges, right? Like basically like college ministers, sort of.
Mhm.
They're evangelizing to college students, and so they use the 5 R's approach to spread the gospel, which is like, you're made for a relationship with God, but then we rebelled against Him, and now we have reconciliation through Christ, where we can recreate ourselves in His image, and then we have a response to now spread that good news.
Mhm.
So that was a little bit of the themes that were going on with some of the talks. Is that right?
So that's mainly the keynotes.
Okay.
Like they focused. There was either 1 or 2 keynote speakers each night, and they focused on each R.
Okay.
But each talk, I think, had its own like. And in a way, yeah, like they're all like related, but they're all like different, because there would be talks like that would talk about like, why am I Catholic, or like why we believe what the church believes, or it would talk about spiritual combat. It'll talk about like
that's pretty
different
cool.
stuff, and there's a lot of like
Yeah.
science-based ones too, like
Yeah.
truth-based, that like I know you had gone to one about like the
Wait.
the science-based, like the one you went with Connor and David.
Oh, the Shroud of Turin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
that
I
one.
heard. Yeah, Connor was telling me about that.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. So I just want to make sure I'm understanding. So the keynotes were like with everyone together.
Mm.
Yeah.
But then there were also like you were saying, in the latter half of the day, there's
Mhm.
like separate little breakout talks that you could go to, and in those
Mhm.
breakout talks is where they had all these type of like
Yeah.
Shroud of Turin, or like what is it? What do you say? Like why
Like,
we're
am I-
Catholic?
why am I Catholic?
And all these kind of like breakouts and stuff like that. Which was probably, the rooms were still pretty full then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it was very hard to
Me
get
and Nick
into the
actually,
talk.
Yeah.
me and Nick actually got kicked out of that talk
It
because
was
there was
full.
no seats.
Yeah.
People were
Okay.
standing on the side, and they were like, "It's a fire hazard. Like, you guys are gonna have to find another talk."
Yeah.
And even on like the first day, there was only 2 talks, like 2 different talks in the convention center.
At one time, there's only 2 talks.
Yeah, it was at 12:30. So everyone,
Oh wow.
well, all 18,000 people were trying to get into those 2 talks, but there was
Like
no
you
room.
couldn't. You had to wait.
I think the max capacity in each of those rooms was probably like 500.
All right. Well, we're not. Okay, that's a Salt Palace problem. What was
That's
the
what-
name? Is that the name?
Yeah,
Salt-
that's what I'm
yeah.
saying. I was like, I don't think they were expecting like everyone to be like.
Maybe a speaker got sick or something. Maybe they were
yeah, I
supposed to
don't-
have more.
I don't know.
Maybe like 10 speakers got sick. It sounds like.
No,
Yeah.
it was pretty evened out throughout the day. The
Mhm.
talks, it was just like the first couple talks in the day were always full.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we continue to kind of talk about Seek, I kind of want to know why you guys even felt the urge to go. Like
Mhm.
what was the thought process for deciding to go to Seek, and what was going on in your heart there? How was God calling you to the conference?
To be honest, I didn't even really want to go at first. The only reason, well, Kristen was telling me to go. I really didn't want to because I really like staying at home personally, but eventually they convinced me to go. I don't know. I just thought it'd be like a good experience for me personally. I think one of the reasons I didn't want to go was because, I don't know, I feel like being like an old leader, I was like, I think I'm like too good, or not like too good, but like I feel like I already know a lot about my faith. But one of the things that I really enjoyed about the trip was it was like very refreshing for me and like kind of humbling, because like I thought that I was like kind of just like
Formed well enough.
but
yeah.
it was a good wake up call.
Like there's a lot you don't know.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. So it sounds like you got a lot out of the conference. So you really went. You would come to mass. I would see you at mass, and you were around and stuff like that. But you felt like, like I'm kind of good. You heard about the conference, but then Kristen really was the one that like encouraged you to go.
It was Kristen and Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were just begging me to go. I was like, yeah, it's
Oh, they were
Begging.
begging. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
not begging, sorry, but they were. I
They
don't
were
know,
pleading.
It seemed like a way that God was like calling me.
Yeah.
Cause like I don't know, they're my friends for a reason. Like I love having people who share the same faith as me.
Yeah.
So when I see like them telling me to like come out more, I like take their opinion pretty seriously.
No, we
like-
definitely need that encouragement
Yeah.
and friends that like will invite us out and keep us connected to the faith. So okay,
Right.
that's kind of what was going on for you. What about for you, Kristen?
So originally, like last year was my first Seek ever, and I originally did not want to go either. I don't know what about it, because we went with Beach Catholic. Erica had invited me, and she just like kept like let's go, like you should go, like it'll be fun. And I'm like, I don't know, like that kind of sounds like like with all these people that don't know, like I didn't know anyone from like Beach Catholic except for literally Erica and Miguel. So I was like, I kept pushing it off, and then like one of the missionaries talked to me. Her name's Christine, and she's like why don't you want to, like why are you uneasy? Like she was like really kind about it, and I was like, I really like don't know what about it is. Like I'm like But then like the last day, like before, not like the day before we left, but like a couple like days before, I was like, you know what, like what can I lose from it? I was like, if like I want to be more involved in my faith and grow more, like that's the only way I'm going to. Like nothing bad from the experience can come from it. Like it'll only benefit me. So I ended up going, and I really, really liked it. So that's why I wanted to go again this year. But as it kept building up, like going through the semester, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I have the energy to go anymore and all that stuff. But I just like remembered like my experience last year, and I was like, yeah, like it's going to be really good. Like I definitely need it, especially after like the semester and like being so drained and stuff.
Okay, so because of your experience last year, you kind of already knew just how revitalizing it could be, and so the semester ended, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna want to go.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have a lot of fundraisers. We're gonna have a lot of pasta fundraisers. We're gonna make that money.
Yeah.
So it won't be that bad, for costs and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's cool. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of know what was going on in your hearts and in your minds prior to the conference.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So then you show up to the conference, day one. You guys listen to your first keynote. I maybe kind of want to just know what was going on after day one. Like, where were you at day one?
Who's the first speaker?
I think it was Sister
The
Sister Mary Grace, the Australian nun. Oh, Arthur Brooks. It was Arthur Brooks.
Yeah,
Oh
Arthur Brooks
yeah,
was the first
Arthur
talk.
Brooks. Yeah, he's
Arthur
good.
Brooks, and it was Sister Mary
Yo, a lot of people
Grace.
don't know him really in the Catholic realm.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they do now.
Yeah,
Just
they
kidding.
do. Yeah, they do.
After the first day, I don't think anything changed that much
Yeah.
because the first day it was a lot of the people were still like flying in and like still driving in.
Okay.
Because a lot of them came in on the first, so the only events were at like I think past 5.
So it's pretty
just,
late.
like only 2 events.
It was low key.
Yeah. So, but the second day, like after going to the collegiate, like they split us into those talks, and then like going to some of like other talks on my own. I found it enjoyable. Like I was like glad I was there instead
Good.
of like I didn't stay home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So by day 2, you were like, I'm in.
No,
I'm
yeah.
present. I'm here.
I was like I'm glad I'm here because
Yeah.
I probably would have been home just doing nothing. So it was really good that I was there.
okay. What about for you?
I think I really enjoyed it. Like he said, we didn't do much the first day except like mass and like the first talk, the first keynote, and the first keynote was actually really. I had never heard of Arthur Brooks,
Yeah.
and like his talk was like, it was actually like it was like really good.
Yeah, he's a really good public
like
speaker.
he was talking
yeah.
about like happiness and
Yeah.
like he's a professor at Harvard or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
Oh,
thought
yeah.
it was like very like informative. Like wow, like I've never like thought about stuff like
Yeah.
this way. So I think it was really nice. But then there's also this place called like Mission Way. It's
Okay.
like a big hall full of like different like booths, and there's like the camps, like they do camps like the camp that Miguel did.
Come Boitiwa.
Yeah,
Camp
yeah.
Wativa.
Yeah.
Yeah, the little
You
booth
got
there.
it. Don't worry.
You
And
got it.
There was
There's like Life Teen camps. There's like Knights of Columbus. There's like the different
Christ in the City.
yeah, the Christ in the City.
Okay. Like a lot of different missionary booths.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there's a lot of vocation booths, like
Okay.
all that stuff. And then there's like booths selling stuff like rosaries and different things.
It was very nice.
So
Okay.
walk-
Vendors. Yeah.
yeah, vendors.
So like walking around was like nice, seeing like a bunch of different things. Like I know I saw something that had interest me like the second or third day, but yeah.
What was it?
It was actually from Life Teen. It was they have summer camps. Like I didn't know that they did summer camps.
For like adults.
No, for high schoolers, but like college kids, college students are like the counselors.
Oh, okay. I see. So that
Yeah.
interested you to like maybe want to do that.
to like sign up, cuz like the one in California is like I think June 20 something to like July 19th, and I was like that actually doesn't seem like I'd be interested in that.
Yeah, it's a couple weeks. You're out in
Yeah.
a camp. You're serving. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great. Cool. What was each of your favorite like talk, or what was your favorite keynote, favorite talk, and what did you take away from it? You know, who's the speaker, that kind of thing.
I forget which day it was, but I went to one. His name was Father Boniface.
Oh yeah, Boniface Hicks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He did one. It was why it's not good for man to be alone, and I just went to that one because I don't know, it sounded interesting, and I always thought that too. I was like, I feel like as humans we're meant to be like personal and have relationships.
Yeah.
So I don't know. He did a really good job like tying in like he like brought into he talked about Genesis and how Adam
Was alone first.
yeah alone first, but he like God was like, oh, he needs someone, just like, and he brought into the fact that like God isn't just one person, like he also has someone else
Yeah.
because he's a triune God.
Yeah.
So that connection for me, I was like, oh, like that makes a lot of sense. And I don't know, that whole talk just like really spoke out to me.
Mm-hmm. What I guess I want to dig a little bit deeper here. What like is that something that like I don't know, I'm just trying to understand what changed in your heart like after that talk. Like you just felt like did you want more like brotherly, like more brothers in Christ like as a result of this talk? Did you want like a romantic relationship? Did you want a stronger relationship with God? Like what exactly was like the goal for that talk? You know what I mean? Like what did you leave? Like I want to really focus on being more talkative with people, more extroverted. Like
Yeah. I think one of the reasons I like really wanted to go to the talk is because I feel like when I really like to do things on my own. like in my own
stay
free time.
home, like
well, not just that, but I go out by I go out by myself a lot and just like do things, but I never like found any like reason to like. I thought it was okay to do that, but it was when he was saying like it's not good for that. Like we need those personal interrelationships. I thought, oh, maybe I should like start like going out more or like talking to my friends more, building like more community. I don't know if it's because I like I probably used to distance myself from my friends a lot. So I think when I went to that talk, it was kind of like, oh yeah, like I don't know, it just like struck home.
No, yeah, definitely. I think you're very independent.
Right.
So you're used to being independent, which is good. And I think a lot of people struggle to be independent. But I think this talk called you to like maybe be a little bit more vulnerable and realizing your need for others and for community. Yeah. And to like risk putting yourself out there to like, hey, do you want to come to a coffee shop with me or something like that?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. Yeah, that's really good. What about for you? What was your favorite talk?
I had a lot, I think.
There's a lot of good ones.
There's a good handful of them.
We can talk about a couple. Just give me your favorite, and then maybe you guys could talk about your shared favorite.
I won't do the keynote right now. I'll do one of the ones that we went to separately. I really liked Father Scott Powell.
Okay.
He's actually the founder of Camp Wativa. I think that's what it's called.
You know what? We're trying our best.
I had actually gone with Nick. It was actually after we got kicked out of the physical one.
Yeah.
But he talks about like the topic was like heaven isn't what you think it is and stuff. So but basically he ties in the Gospel of Luke when the story of the road to Emmaus.
Okay.
When Jesus is with these two people and like how like we only know one of the guys' names. Like we don't even know the second person. Like that's how little they're mentioned in the Bible. Like almost not that they're insignificant to like the Bible, but it's like no one knows who they are really. So it talks about like how Jesus went to them and like walked with them and like no one knew who he was at the time. Like this is him after he was resurrected, and like he ties it to like Genesis and like how when he shared a meal with them that they ate from like something hanging from the tree, just as Adam ate, or just as Eve ate something from the hanging tree and stuff. Like I can't really explain it. Like I tried explaining this to someone else, and I was like you just have to listen to it. It's actually so good. So it's just his connections and like the way like it opens. Like like it makes a lot more sense when he says it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to express what you're saying. So like he was able to draw parallels between the Genesis eating from the tree and the road to Emmaus now eating from the tree as well. He was able to tie those parallels together and explain the meaning of that. And you found that to be very enriching for your soul.
Yeah. I never I know like there's prophecies and there's like things that are tied together, but I guess I like never noticed them until like talks like those.
So we were also talking about this before filming, but I just want to emphasize this point. We're made for meaning. Like we were made for God, who is the source of all meaning. So we actually do delight in like some of the beautiful connections from the Old and the New Testament. Like that actually is like nourishing for our souls to see the hidden meaning in the beauty of how God is revealing things to us. And so, yeah, it makes sense that you like really enjoyed that. Like it was very nourishing and like probably like awe-inspiring for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. All these talks, you can find them on YouTube, no? Or not the breakouts, but the keynotes.
Yeah, but it's also on like Seek Replay. You can either download the app or watch it online. They're still posting. They posted all the keynotes, but I think they're starting to post all the talks from every breakout.
Oh, really?
So
okay.
I was watching some.
So you can watch them, yeah.
Like even if you didn't go to Seek.
Even if you didn't go to Seek, you can continue as a guest and watch them.
Wait, can you plug it real quick slowly again? If people want to listen to these talks or anything, what do you do?
Go to seekreplay.com or you can download the app.
Okay, there we go. Plug. Sponsored ad.
There you go.
Unsponsored, thank you.
Yeah, okay. What about another talk? What's another talk? Maybe, did you guys ever find yourself like talking after some of these? Like, what do you think about that? That was crazy. You guys have small group discussion after some of these talks? Not too much?
I think like on our own, but like not designated, because I think we were just so tired by the end of the day. Like we were jam-packed schedules. I think one I really liked was Father Mike Schmidt's, his talk. He was a day 2 keynote.
I forget.
Yeah, I think it was day 2. He was on Thursday. I think we ended up talking about it a little.
I think so.
But it was actually pretty good. He explains like that, like we're made good and that we're made very good, but like when we sin, it's like sin is just an attempt to be happy away from God. And like he talks about like what sin means and like how we're splintered from God and like how we push farther away. And then like I wrote down a really good one, but I forgot what it said. Let me look it up.
It was something about sin can't dig deep enough to like hurt that like light in your heart. Like you can never break that that need for God. Yes. I'm not sure if I'm wording that right or I can double check. But
yeah, I think sin can never mar our original image of being God bearers, right? Of the image of God. And so even if we sin, even if we do these things, we still have that core light within us, that core image of God that is always available for redemption and for a new life in Christ and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So it's talking about that a little bit, about sin and things like that.
Yeah. It also talks about like how we matter and how we're made with a purpose. Like like we're loved by God, and like no matter what you think, like we're always in God's infinite love. Like so what you do, like anything you do actually matters. Like that's like the cost of having God's love, is like your decisions and like what you choose to do actually matter, and they have an impact. Because I think it was, I want to say it was still him that was like God's timeline. Like if you think like, oh, like I'm here by mistake, or like I'm not this, I'm not that, like God's timeline is completely different from ours. Like we don't know. So he could have planned you like 10,000 years, and his year can be like 10,000 years for us. Like he can plan you like 10,000 years ago and place you perfectly, because he didn't need to place you at all. Like he knew you and like knew you were made for this world, and he wanted you to be in it. So he put you in it. So every decision like you make matters no matter what. Yeah.
No, that's really good. What, I guess fast forward, we've now heard your favorite talks and everything. I guess, how did you leave like the week? How are you feeling now being back home? Kind of what did you learn? What kind of are you taking away?
For me, I mean, one of my main worries when coming back was, not being surrounded by that many Catholics anymore, getting off that like Jesus high, but just like keeping that strong faith that we have at that conference. So I don't know, just I felt good leaving the conference. Like I learned way more than I thought I would, obviously, because I thought I shouldn't be there. But one of my favorite parts being there was one of our friends had a lot of questions, and I guess the point of Seek was to learn and to like help with mission. There's a lot of missionaries there, and I guess I don't know. It's kind of like there was a lot of talks about like what are you called to, like vocations, and I don't know. A lot of the missionary work seemed to be calling to me for some reason. I mean,
really?
I mean, yeah. Just like I really like talking about our faith and like sharing. Like I always love talking about these like deep topics, going into just like these long talks about how like what is this, like why is all of this happening. So I don't know, when our friend had a lot of questions, it was just like one of my favorite parts about it was just like helping or like sharing our faith, kind of.
Yeah. So one thing you really liked is just being in an environment where you can talk about what matters.
Yeah.
You can talk about your faith. You could talk about God. You could talk about love. You could talk about Jesus.
Yeah.
And just being in that environment is just very life-giving.
Yeah.
And then when you guys can talk about people wrestling with some of these like bigger questions, like you find that to be very meaningful.
Right. Because it's not like every day where you can just like talk to your usually everyday friends about this like your deep faith. So it's very refreshing when you are in that type of community where you can just openly talk about your struggles,
Yeah.
why do I struggle with this? And it just the community being there was just like one of the best parts for me.
Why do you think? I think that's been my experience too, Michael. Like being able to talk to people vulnerably and to like talk about what matters really.
Yeah.
Why do you think like maybe some of your friends here aren't as open to that?
I feel like it has a lot to do with culture.
Yeah.
I don't know. Faith isn't really brought up a lot in culture, especially. Well, my friends, they are, I think, Catholic or Christian, but they don't really bring it up that much. Maybe I gotta start bringing it up more. I mean, I try to. Actually, when I came home, I started talking to them about my trip and telling them about it. And one of them was like really interested in the talks, and I referred him to Seek Replay. And I was literally showing him a whole talk about it.
Plug.
Yeah, I was literally showing him a talk, and I was like, "This was like one of my favorite talks." Like, and he started like just watching. I go, "Yeah, you should like watch all of them. Like they were really good." And he goes, "Yeah, I might." So I think that was really one of my.
So you said like, why do you think culture makes it so people don't want to talk about these things?
That's a deep question. I feel like, I don't know. It's just for some reason, religion seems like a hard topic to people, especially when it's grounded in truth, and a lot of people have their kind of own truths.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like you're going somewhere there. That's good. I think so. You're saying like people are just kind of closed off because if we're talking about Christianity, we're talking about truth, but people have their own ideas of truth.
Right. And it's not always the easiest thing to tell them like, oh, you're just wrong.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So I think to put it another way, people have their own wills, their own desires,
Right.
and it's often contrary to God's will and God's desires for us. Yeah. Because maybe they don't want to talk about Christianity because they don't want to deal with what would happen if they actually agreed that it was true. Like they don't want to actually.
That might be the case, yeah.
Like if it were true and we have to talk about it, then that means my life would have to change, and I'm not sure I want my life to change.
Yeah, it's definitely that's probably it's a very hard thing to grasp when it's going to be like such a life-changing decision.
Yeah.
Like you know, cuz if we are the truth, you're giving your life to someone else, to Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yeah. And people, that's scary. That could be scary for some people. But being on the other side of that, why isn't that scary for you?
I guess I've found comfort in just putting my trust in him. I'm not really sure why I've come to grow so much. I think it's been a lot of the people who I've surrounded myself with, but yeah, I'm not sure.
I think God has always had his hand in your life.
Right. Yeah.
I think
I've
tell.
always been surrounded by like Catholics and like good teachers. So I don't know. So for me, I just try to share that with more people, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like not good at putting my words into my thoughts.
No, you're
into
doing
words.
great.
Yeah.
You're doing great. Yeah. Thanks for sharing. Kristen, I'm gonna go back and we'll chat with you a little bit.
Thanks.
You've been a great listener. You've been a great listener over there. No. I wanted to dig a little bit deeper.
No, it's okay. I like listening.
What was your greatest takeaway from Seek? Coming back now, kind of where are you at? Was it similar to Michael with like the whole environment piece and everything like that, or was it different?
Something we forgot to mention about Seek is that on the third night, there's adoration and confessions.
Ooh, nice.
Like a big adoration, like, yeah. So I think my biggest takeaway was surrendering. Like, So
I did the thing.
like being able to like, you know, like you're in college and like deciding like what your major is, like what you want to do with your life, and it's like you're so scared to let go and like let God like take it. So it's like surrendering that like will to like want to take over and letting him just take over was like a big part into my adoration. So I think that was a big thing. Also like the community aspect, like I think the group of people we went with, like obviously like I'm close to like Michael, and then like I'm close to Nick, and so like I know them, so but like being able to see both of them and like other people that I'm not close with like grow in their faith and like having these like meaningful conversations was like really like wow, like we're all in this together, like we're all on different journeys, but like our
Same destination.
our end goal is the same.
Yeah, there we go.
But it's like we're all on. Yeah, I just think it's like it is gonna be tough coming back to like Long Beach and like this area with like having like different friends who aren't as like rooted in their faith as we were back there, as we are. Yeah.
So would it be fair to say one of the big takeaways for you from this week was just learning, not learning how to surrender, but surrendering?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you think kept you from surrendering?
Like I said, like the pressures of like choosing your career and like you're like what you're gonna do with your life, basically in college. Like I know it's not like people always say like, oh, like you still have like your whole college, like you still have life after, like to figure it out, like you're so young, but it's like I'm right, like I'm going through this and like people are telling me like I have to make a decision about my life. Like how do I do that?
How do you make a decision about your life?
By yourself. And like you have to realize you're not by yourself.
Yeah, there's certainly like a lot of peace in knowing like Jesus has a plan for you, and that like you don't need to stress about the right way because he is the way. And as long as you're with him, then everything else will be okay. Yeah, that's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
One of my favorite, I don't know where I heard it, but it was like Jesus has already prepared the way. He's just preparing you. So
Oh, that's really good, Michael.
yeah.
I like that. I like that. That's really good.
Yeah, I don't know where I heard about. When I heard that, I was like my like the path is like there. It's just me who needs to find it.
Yeah. So I usually end every podcast by asking people why Jesus. I feel like you guys have both kind of recently just answered that in different ways. So I'll ask, why should young adults go to Seek? That will be the question, right? Like, so you can try to like how would you tell your friends or other like Catholics here, other young adults here, like why should people go to like this young adult conference? What will they take away?
Honestly, it's just one of the experiences. I feel like it's one of those transformative ones where I feel like if you think you're kind of stagnant in your faith and you don't know if you're like going anywhere, you feel like you're in this kind of routine. It's like a good how you said like revitalization of your faith. Especially for me, because I would like I stopped like being a leader, so I wasn't as involved in the church, and I only had like those like little young adult events to go to. So I don't know, a lot of Catholics don't have those like type of events to go to. They just have daily mass for community. So honestly, just like being surrounded by such a big community of Catholics is one of the, I feel like, greatest things you could do, especially when you have such great speakers there, like Father Mike Schmidt or like Jason Everett. Like you can learn a lot about, like if you have any questions about your faith, you could probably find answers at Seek.
That's great.
Seek replay.
Plug number like 5 today.
I think especially if you are just so, like you said, stagnant in your faith. That's how I felt last year going. I think it's a good way to revive your faith, but also to find the community that like you want and need. Like because faith, like deepening your faith with God in your relationship isn't just something like you do by yourself. Like you need relationship not only with God but like with a community.
Mhm.
So I think that's like a big thing. And I also think that I had something I was gonna say but I forgot. Give me a second. It's like you don't think you'll need it, like you don't, like you had said, like you don't think you're gonna need it. You don't think like, oh, what more can I learn, like blah blah blah. But it's like you open your heart and your mind to this like retreat, you're gonna get what you put in.
Yes. No, that's really good.
So yeah, I think if you put in a lot, like if you're open and you sit down and you take the time to listen to these talks, and you're gonna start asking questions, you're gonna start receiving answers, you're gonna like finally realize like this is like my faith and these are the people practicing it with me.
Yeah. I think C.S. Lewis has a quote, and I'm paraphrasing, like, we're content playing in the mud when we could be spending a day at sea, or something like that. Like, he has a quote where it's a general idea of like, we think we're okay doing whatever we're doing, like it's fulfilling us enough, but until you take that next step, until you maybe push yourself and get a little uncomfortable, is where you can really grow and experience something new. Yeah.
I think that's probably like the best part, or like the best spot in your life to like probably push yourself when you think you're like good enough, because we're one of the messages we're not good enough. So we always got to like keep like striving to be the glory of God. I don't know.
Yeah. Good. Well, thank y'all for sharing about your Seek experience. I'm glad to hear it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Let's close in prayer and we'll be done here. In the
All right.
name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Come, Holy Spirit. Dear Lord, I just want to thank you for the testimony of Michael and Kristen. I thank you for who they are and the way in which you've used them as vessels to talk about Jesus in their life. I just ask that you send forth your Spirit in them, that they continue to have joy and peace, that they continue to share the good news, and that anyone who's listening to this also just open their heart to receive Jesus and to seek community so that they too can spread the good news. We ask all of this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.